Okay, good afternoon, everybody. So let us start our class today. So let us see our schedule. So according to the schedule, in your next class, I think we will meet in next week, right? Early next week. But your test will be on Wednesday, 20th. Okay, March 20th, and we will cover the content from week 6 to week 9. That means we will cover reference parameter, recursion, linked list, stack, and queuing. Okay, so if you go to your sections on D12, and your section is 2 right here. For all of my sections, I posted some discussion topics. Okay. For your section, okay, so this is the discussion topic that I posted earlier. So this is the topic is understanding the current state of a stack at a certain point of operation. And this one, there are some sample problems for recursion. Okay. The first one is that write a method in your language, either C# or Java, that receive only one parameter, an integer n. Okay, and it prints the number 1 to n in ascending order or descending order. I discussed the problem in one of my class. I showed the output. So for ascending and descending, there is a minor difference when you will call recursion or the print method before or after. Okay. So remember that was the slide. There are 2 slides for recursion. Recursion maybe part 1. At the end of the part 1, this is the problem I discussed. There is a minor difference between the output and where you put the recursion method or where you put the input or output. Okay, try with this program, then you should understand that one. Okay, I also put some advanced questions. Find the factorial of the number. Okay, in recursive method, find the Fibonacci numbers. Okay, so practice these problems. Okay, so if you practice this, if you understand how to write a recursive method for printing n up to 1 to n in the ascending or descending order, then you should be able to understand how to print the numbers 1 to n squared, 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, up to n squared, or 1 cube, 2 cube, 3 cube, up to n cube, or square root of 1, square root of n, actually. Square root of 1, square root of 2, square root of 3, up to square root of n. It's easy, right? So do some practice of this one, and the second one is the largest one. Actually, I added all methods, all essential methods: the append, prepend, remove first node, display all node, find by ID. This is for singly linked list. Okay, for this test you don't need doubly linked list. Study about singly linked list only. And this is the push and pop and pick and display all nodes for stack, and NQ and DQ operations for queuing. So in your test, you will get questions from both singly linked list, stack, and queuing. Okay. Although I added almost all of the operations, but at least learn and understand the first few. Most important. like append, prepend, and remove, push, pop, pick, enqueue, and dequeue. These are the essential things you must learn. But these are not the thing you will memorize. I don't like you memorize, okay?
So just know what they do or how to implement.
Yes,
Okay.
know how what they do and how to implement. And another is the fact that I put a sample. I discussed this. I showed output on one of my classes. That the effect of ref and output keyword, out keyword. With example, this is the like for pseudocode. How to use ref or how to use uh, uh, out keyword. Okay, although, okay, I'm mentioning again, although the ref and out keyword one is completely for C#, it's not a part of Java, because Java does not allow call by reference. But if you get a question like this, you cannot tell that, okay, I took Java lab, Java lab, so I did not take C#, so I cannot answer this. Okay, that will not be a valid reason, because in your class I discussed this. Can you please stop the sector? Okay, so then anyone has any question about the upcoming test? I think intelligent people should understand what kind of question you should get in test 3, in the upcoming test, or also in your final. But anyone has any question? Okay, that's good. If you don't have any question, then I expect that everybody understands. Okay, then if you go to my GitHub account, okay, this GitHub account name is my github.com/CSITEd expert. So you see that I have, so this is your section, right? For in your section, I have added, this is Java. All of my programs I discuss in this class, then I also put in my GitHub account. You can download this program and practice. Okay, and then how many of you are taking C# lab? Can you please raise your hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, the people who are taking C# lab. So this is my, I think I told you, I showed you. This is my repository for C#, this one. C#, and all of the courses are here that I discussed earlier, like okay, these are actually what are they called? Reference parameter, singly linked list implementation. I put stack, I put QE, I put abstraction methods, everything. All courses in C# versions are here. Please download this code and then to practice. I told you maybe several times, this course is like a swimming course. Okay, no matter how many theory swimming, how to learn swimming books you study, okay, and how many hours you spend on learning and memorizing or understanding theory, how to swim, nothing will help unless you dive into water, right? So until you practice, you will not understand this course. This is why from the very beginning I encourage you to practice. We are almost covered 75% of the course content. Okay, we have covered most of the important topics. Okay, but at this point, anyone has any question? Again, for the test 3, everybody is happy so far? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so let us continue our remaining discussion on exception handling in our, okay, so I added some, I updated some slides with C sharp class hierarchy. For C sharp, almost same. Class hierarchy is almost same, but we may find a little bit difference in the class names. For instance, in Java, we said error subclass and then exception subclass. But in C sharp, we had system exception and application exception. Like this may a little bit different class name. Okay, I added these slides and then I will ask to update repository on first year experience page with this slide. Okay, so we were discussing, can anybody remember where did we leave? Maybe here, right? Checked and unchecked exceptions. Okay. Checked and unchecked exceptions. So checked exception are that we discussed that. Okay, so that are required to check by a try block or using a method or using actually throws clause. Yes, throws clause. Actually, throws is only for Java. In C sharp, it does not have, C sharp does not have throws. We will discuss today. Okay, the checked exception, actually you see that, remember again that, okay, so checked exception are type, IO exception, illegal exception, these are the checked exceptions. So checked exceptions means you have to put this kind of exception in your try and catch block, otherwise your program will not run. For instance, whatever we showed over here, but unchecked exception is optional. It is not required to put this exception within a try and catch block during compile time. So compile time, if there is an unchecked exception, your compiler will not show an error. Let me show you. I remember that the first program we discussed. Close wall. This is your section, right? Exception handling. Okay, the first program here is that we got an exception on line number 12, right? What kind of exception was that one? Remember, can anybody remember? Arithmetic exception, right? So an arithmetic exception is an unchecked exception. According to our slide, it says that an arithmetic exception is an unchecked exception, right? So for unchecked exception, it is not required. It is optional, not mandatory to use try and catch block to handle this exception during compile time. You see that? Although trying to run this. Okay. Although my program is showing an error, in Java it is not required because my program did not show any error message during compile time, but runtime it showed an error message. If I run same program, however, in C sharp, where is my program? Close. Exception, this one, right? So let me run this program. So this is the C sharp version of the same program that I showed in Java. Okay, so if I run this program, you see that there will be an exception on this line number 16. Okay, so here if I run this program, C sharp will not run this. Even it is not showing an error on compile time, but run time, the debugger will halt here. You see that it got an error message here on this line. It is showing that the cross sign over here because it is showing an error. So although Java is a little bit flexible, that it runs the program but shows an error message exception. But here C# actually does not run it by default. But if you change the exception handling setup, then maybe it will run. But I don't like that to do that. I like to handle this exception. Okay. So in order to resolve this exception, what did we do? We, in our next program, we handle this exception using a try block, right? And then if I handle this try block, then we have a catch block. Within catch statement, you say that this exception is called print trace. It will print the stacked. Actually, all exception messages are stored in stack. Now we understand then stack is a temporary memory location. You see that? So this is the effect of this line. This line, it shows that this is the what is that another line? Okay, what I wanted to show. So I discussed this one, right? So and then in C# version, the program is right this one. I'm not comfortable with C# because it takes long time. Every individual program in order to run in C#, I have to change the runner starter program. Okay, sir. Yeah. So here the C# version, you see that I put this code within a try block. It's exactly same, but there is something different in the code in C# and Java. I want to show you side by side. In Java, we use EX, so this is the exception object, ex.print stack trace method. But in C# we call differently. It says ex.stack trace. This is an enum, not a method. Little bit different, okay? C# people remember that. And in order to put a message, then we say ex.message. Whatever message you want to display. So almost everything is same. Try block and catch block. You see the arithmetic exception ES. I put arithmetic exception ES over here. Also in C# and in Java. But there is a difference between this code over here. So C# does not have this method. Rather, it has track trace. We will call it this way. So C# people, please download this source code and then run it, okay? So if you run this program in C#, so this is my output in C#. So you see that line is output of that line is the effect of that line. And after this line, I said the exception is ex.message. So this is the output of in this line. And these are the two other lines that I added just to show my customized message. So these are the output of these two lines. Okay. And what did I say? I said I did differently here. That's it. Anybody has any question? Okay, so this is an unchecked exception. Okay, and then checked exception is in Java. For a checked exception, you must use try and catch block to handle this code. For instance, we discussed for Java, we discussed the use of a read line method. You see that? Okay, previously it was like this. Without try, it was like this. Previously it was like this. So here the line, here on line number 21, we use the read line method. The read line method is used to read some input from keyboard. So there is a possibility that you may do mistake. Instead of entering an integer, you may enter a character. Hello? That will not be accepted. So this is why when you use this readline method, the compiler asks you to use an exception handling mechanism here. So how do we handle this exception? There are two ways in Java. Either you will put this code within a try and catch block, or in Java you have throws keyword. So if we do not use this one, you will see that this line will make an error. So what is the error message over here? So if I hover my mouse over here, then if I press Control plus 1, okay, then it is showing two options to fix this. One is that add throws declaration. Throws declaration is always used, if I select this one, double click over here, there is always used at the method's header line. This is what previously I did have. I have throws exception. Okay, throws is only for Java. C# does not have throws keyword. Okay, then my program is fine. Otherwise, I have another alternative. Is that the second option is that surround with try catch. Okay, so then if I say double click on the second option, we are lucky that this code will be surrounded in try catch automatically. You see that? I have this, right? So this code in Java is this compiler Eclipse automatically fixes some errors, but okay, let me get it. Okay, but in C# we do not have throws keyword, so we must enclose this type of codes that might generate an error within a try block. So this is my program in C#. Let me say it as startup project. Oh, okay. So for instance, here in this program, let me see, I have a student class. In the student class, I have two public, okay, field, student ID and student name. For student ID, I have getter and setter as well as, and student name, I have getter and setter. In C Sharp, it is easy. You can put just get and set, or you can write the getter and setter method in C Sharp, Java pattern. Both works. Okay, and then in my, so remember that I have a student class here. Okay, I have student class, this one, right? Student class here, and let me see my main program here. Okay, so in my main program, if I say my student equal to null, I don't have actually any student. Okay, so then I need to put this, for instance, if I want to print student name over here, this is my print student name method. So here, since there is no student, actually, student is null, right? So there is no student. So if I say that if student equal to null, equal null, if there is no student, then throw this exception. What is the exception? Is null reference exception. And this is a method actually, and this is built in C Sharp, this exception class, and this is also constructor. I am passing this method. It's a student object is null. So this is the way in C Sharp and also in Java to throw an exception. So if I run this program, sorry. You see that this is the output, that this is the first two lines are the lines of these two lines. You see that these two lines. I say console.writeLine ex dot ex is my exception type dot exception object dot track trace or ef dot message. Almost actually these are almost similar, but you don't need to memorize this exception. Try to understand this. And this is the method. This is the actually. You see that this method of student object is null. Whatever I replied over here, this is the place. Student object is null. It is showing me that error message. So this is an example of how to use throw keyword in C Sharp and also in Java. Yeah, in similar fashion in Java we use throw keyword. So throw keyword is common both in C Sharp and Java. But one thing is that in Java does have throws keyword, but C Sharp does not have. Okay, so there is an advanced level interview question. What is the difference between throw and throws keyword? I believe at some point you will be an expert programmer. So when you go for an interview, if you do well, then there is a possibility that you will be asked a question: what is the difference between throw and throws keyword? This is a high level or advanced level interview question. Yep. Sorry? You have any question? You fine? Okay. So throws, Java, C Sharp does not have throws, okay? Only Java. Okay, so and there is another advanced level interview question. People sometimes ask, what is the difference between final, finally, and finalize keyword? Okay, final is used a keyword to declare a constant in a variable fashion. Like some people say constant variable. So constant is not a variable, but they name they declare a constant like as a variable using final keyword, like static final int x equal to 5. Okay, and finally, a final method is a method that cannot be overridden. You cannot override a final method. Okay, and finally, a final class cannot be inherited. Okay, and then finally, we know that finally keyword, we discussed the finally keyword is like is the block that always executed, like we simulated with a finally block with the emergency lane for freeway. Remember that? So this is an interview question for difference between final, finally, and finalized keyword. So okay, when you understand this, before you go to an interview, please recall this. Okay. Okay, then our last topic is designing our own exception types. Okay, this is our last topic. Okay, in order to understand this part, you need to understand the previous parts. You need to recall. You need to remember and understand the previous topic that I discussed for exception handling. You remember that most of the companies or the application, when they send an error message or a message, most of the companies like to display their own logo in the message instead of the built-in operating system's logo, or most of the companies they like to send customized but their own error message. Even if you use an app or a website, you will see that when it gets an error, then say, oh, this program crashed, or do this, something to this. So that means most of the companies, they like that you will design your own exception types. When an exception happens, so instead of sending the customer or sending the built-in exception, they like that your application will develop your own exception type. That means sometimes the existing exception types are not sufficient enough. Sometimes we need to create our own exception class and own exception methods and own exception message. So this is the section it discussed about that. Both C# and Java allow customizing own exception. Okay, so which one? Okay, so if you go to my last program in C# in Java, then you will see that there is a program over here. It describes how to which one? Customize exception. Yeah, how to create my exception is a new exception class, and how to use it in a program. This program discussed about this. Actually, in order to do this, we need to do two things. We need to create our own exception class. That is here my exception class name, and this my exception class must extend or inherit the exception class. Then you will have a constructor. Within the constructor, whatever message you pass, you can pass that method to this super MSG message. That means super means you are calling or you are passing this message to the parent's constructor. Who is the parent over here? Yes, the parent class is the exception class, right? So super MSG, this statement says whatever message you will send here, this message will be sent to the exception class. Okay. Then the remaining part is easy. Okay. So then instead of catching the existing exception, you will catch your own exception. So then whatever message you will pass, you see that is simple. But if you understand the previous thing, then play with this program, make some changes, you should understand this. Okay, likely Java C# allow us to create our own exception, customized exception. Okay, like you have a student class over here. I have a student class here, and I have in my program okay, this is the high level thing. Actually, at this point, some of you, if you do not practice, then you will not understand. But just I'm giving some superficial idea. In future, if you revisit this lecture and then if you practice, then you should understand. For instance, within try block, I have created a new student, and then new student, for instance, I'm creating a student. You see that in my exception, I have created here two customized exception. One is called mismatched student name exception, or another is invalid student name exception. So what is mismatched student exception type? So I have to, so in order to this type create an exception, I need to create a mismatched student exception class. This is that class, and like in C#, this class inherits exception. You see that this class inherits exception, right? Same thing for C# and Java. And in the constructor, I am passing instead in Java it was super keyword, but here in C# it says base. Who is my base class over here? Exception, right? My base class is exception here, right? Okay, it says this is the format. It says string.format, so mismatch student name, whatever name you pass. So for instance, if I run this program, for instance, if my expected name, for instance, my name is Mukhtar Hussain, for instance, okay? But if I call a student in my name as, okay, for instance here, Mukhtar Hussain without any space. So then the name over here, it is not equal to this name, right? Mukhtar Hussain is not equal, right? Does not, these do not match, right? Not equal to, right? So there is a space over here and there is no space over here. So these are not equal. If I said if name not equal, so the student's name is not equal name, then I'm calling this exception, creating this exception. So mismatched student name exception. Okay, then if I run this program, it shows that this is the mismatched student name, because student name was expected to be Mukhtar at space Hussain, but I gave here this one without a space, right? So an exception happens here. But let me okay. Actually, it is showing another error message because I do have one more exception over here. I do have. Okay, if I run my program this way, then it will not show any exception. For instance, now if I fix my name over here, right? So now this name matches, equal. This name equal to, now it is equal to my expected name of Hussain. So at this point, if I run this program, then this exception will not be thrown. Okay, so then my program will not create an exception. Okay, again, but if I give maybe 2 more extra spaces, then it should create an exception. Because this with 3 spaces did not match with 1 space, right? In a string, every space is a character. It's considered as a character. So I am showing mismatched name, student name. So this is a way to create one exception type. So when you will become an advanced software engineer or software developer, then you will need to revisit my lecture, I believe. Okay, but for this test you will not need this. Okay, this is an advanced level or web programming. Okay, so I have also another code. This part of the code is more at advanced level. Actually, it shows name with regex. Is anyone here has idea about regex, regular expression? You understand that? Good. Regex is an advanced level. Sometimes it's a regular expression. Okay, and most of the languages like in C# has a regex class. It's a regular expression class. We can use that built-in regular expression class, and Java also has regex. Regex means sometimes we need to mismatch some pattern. For instance, in order to match a pattern of a social security number, when you are asked to enter a social security number, the system will check whether you have to enter a valid social security number. So we know that a social security number is valid the first 3 characters, after that with a dash, then after 2 characters, 2 numbers, then again dash, and then again 4 numbers. This is valid for a social security number pattern. But if someone by mistake, okay, instead of giving this dash, if someone puts a star, so it will be considered as invalid. So here, if this pattern checks, in order to be a name, it must contain only characters A to G in uppercase or lowercase. You will understand more, you will know more about regex when you take advanced level computer science course like data structure or advanced level programming course. Then you will understand about regex. So for instance, here in my name, here my expected name was for instance, my expected name was Mokhtar Hussain, for instance, but if I put, instead of O, if I put 0, then it will be an invalid name, right? So a human name does not contain a number in general. So instead of 0, I cannot, instead of O, I cannot put O, 0. Instead of O, I can put 0. So this should be considered as an invalid name. So you can practice this, okay, but this is an advanced level. I don't like to, okay, I'm almost done. So all of the program code are in GitHub account, and then I like everybody to download course and practice. And especially please participate on the discussion activities for in your course section on D2L. Okay, so anybody has any questions so far? I want to wrap up this section. Anybody has any question? No question? You're good? So are you happy so far in this course? Yes. Okay. We have covered about 80% of the course content. Okay. Thank you so much.